I just want to talk a little bit about our sibling cord blood transplant. We underwent PGD, as Ivan was our first child. So Ivan was born July 25th, 2001. Birth defects was hand abnormalities, was the first thing that they noticed. He was born actually 40 and a half weeks and only was 5 pounds, 7 ounces. We attended Camp Sunshine for the first time in 2002. We weren't fully diagnosed yet, but as I mentioned before, when we walked in, we knew that he had FA. We met with Dr. Wagner, and he coordinated our PGD as we were candidates for it. We were young, we only had one child, and we wanted to continue growing our family without the risks of passing down FA to more children. So our first attempt at PGD was in June 2004. 2 embryos were transferred, but they did not produce a pregnancy. We would attempt 3 more times and finally become successful in March 2005. Fabian was born a couple days after Thanksgiving, November 26, 2005. My husband hand carried the cord blood to Minnesota on a private jet, as you would say, and anticipated that we could not send it through regular courier or FedEx. It had to be hand carried. It was those precious cells that nothing can happen to. March 2005, Ivan is in kindergarten, and he had lots of bruising, but he was a very healthy child. He develops a virus, and that's the first time he is transfused with platelets. At Dr. Wagner's recommendation, since we've had the cord blood and we had a perfect match, he suggested we go to transplant. So his blood counts, actually that should say May 2007. His blood counts are way below normal. Platelets are at 19,000, ANC is 500, red blood cells 2.7, and his white count was at 2.6. That was our threshold to go to transplant. So when we went to transplant in Minnesota, we stayed at the Ronald McDonald House. We had the option of renting an apartment or staying at the Ronald McDonald House. We chose the Ronald McDonald House for family support. There's other families there that are going through the same thing, and we felt we needed that. Meals at the Ronald McDonald House. They serve lunch and dinner. We don't have to worry about making meals for ourselves. It's all prepared there daily, home-cooked meals. They have school for siblings. Fabian was about 1.5 years, and he stayed home in the beginning of the transplant. So that didn't pertain to us, but just wanted to mention for people that have children that are in school, they do have a school at the Ronald McDonald House, which I believe is a public school in Minnesota and accredited. It was across the street from the hospital at the time, so the proximity to the hospital for us to walk back and forth was another choice for us. The cons of staying at the Ronald McDonald House: there's about 48 families, so risk for infections are always high. People are in and out. So we had to take extra precautions, washing our hands and, keeping him with a mask on at all times and wiping things down constantly. It was like, germ phobia. No one can get next to my child or cough or even look at him. We had to just wipe everything down. And there's a wait list. You don't know if you're going to be able to stay at the Ronald McDonald House because it can fill up very quick. So June 13, 2007, he's admitted to the hospital. A central line is placed. He has no radiation because he has a cord blood sibling match transplant. He has chemo for 6 days, Cytoxan and fludarabine. And June 20th, 2007, a day before my husband's birthday, he's June 21st, is transplant day. And that is the cord blood. Fabian's cord blood did have a bacteria in it. and we weren't sure if we were going to be able to use it or not. But the doctor said that they would give him antibiotics anyway, so that would hopefully help him without any risks. So the cord blood was used, and there was no problem with it. So day 21. So even though it was a cord blood transplant, Ivan was a rock star. He ate through transplant. He probably threw up once, and he did fairly well until day 21, where he develops a hemorrhagic cystitis, which is irritation of the bladder, which causes pain and urine. It's a common transplant issue, and it's a virus that most of us have, but is reawakened when the low immune system. He continues to have the hemorrhagic cystitis for about 6 months. We were discharged right after when the hemorrhagic cystitis started, so they said that if it would have happened in the hospital, we probably would have stayed there a little longer. We managed it at the Ronald McDonald House with fluids and medication, and we were never readmitted into the hospital. So Fabian was 1.5 years. Me and my husband both were at the transplant with my son. Fabian stayed back with family, so we can both concentrate on Ivan. It was a hard decision to make, but we knew it was the best to focus on one child and have family and familiar surroundings with our other child. Fabian joined us about 6 weeks later, once his immune system had recovered a bit, and Ronald McDonald provided great entertainment for the whole family. So making the best out of our time, riding on the pole with the medication and just bringing tricycles in to the hospital to make it a little more fun. So we're back home by day 72. We make sure to get home that the house is cleaned, filters are changed, carpets are cleaned, house is dusted. All of our family went and had like a cleaning party and cleaned our house before we got home. Meal plan, asked for friends and family to help prepare for meals, because when you get home, it's hard for you to focus on, feeding everyone, plus you're still being monitored with, a home health nurse if there's still complications, which there was for us. Inform family members of visiting restrictions, no sick people, hand washing, same precautions as a newborn, and contact the school district about home tutoring. So we were back in late August, and school obviously was starting in September. We did have a home tutoring that would come to the house and help him with schoolwork. And on January 14th, 2008, he went back to school. So about 6 months after transplant, he was back in the classroom. Returning to the transplant center, this is Minnesota, kind of like a schedule of when you'd be back at the centers. Day 100 is usually the time that they're released from the hospital. We came home at day 72 because he was doing so well, but usually you're released after day 100. We went back to Minnesota at 6 months. The doctor wanted to see us back at 1 year. We went back for 3-year post-transplant, and we've been back for 5. And this June, last week, he celebrated 8 years. So we won't be back to the transplant center till 10 years. And so this is Dr. Wagner, and that's our hero, and with Ivan. And so the present. So Ivan had corrective ear surgery in April 2014. He takes no medications at the time. He's entering high school in the fall of 2015, and he loves video games and basketball. That's what he loves to do. And so we did track Ivan's transplant experience through a carrying bridge. We no longer kind of update it. I think the last time I was on there was 2010, which when they asked me to do this presentation kind of threw me back into that world, and I sometimes forget that because it's been so long that you kind of forget, and we try to live every day without FA in the back of our minds and transplant. And so usually all this comes back during anniversaries or when we're back at camp. But it's still a good tool for families to kind of know. I kept track of other families through Caring Bridge. We had no Facebook back then, so Caring Bridge was our website, but because I wanted to be informed and know what to expect with him, you know, how he was gonna look, what other people have gone through, and I just wanted to be prepared and informed. So that's it. Thank you.